quarterback should be blank.
Yeah, I love that. Look, production dependent. If Jimmy G plays well, he stays healthy, he'll play. If not, then you're going to see Trey Lance come in. This is a good situation for the 49ers. The 49ers, Nick, played this perfectly. From the beginning, they were up front.
That's right.
They talked about Jimmy G being hurt. They talked about, look, we're looking for a quarterback. You know, they talked about, look, if this guy comes in and Jimmy G is not hurt, I mean, if he's hurt and he's not playing well, then Trey Lance is going to come in and he'll be our guy. So I absolutely love this. And even Jimmy G has played it perfectly. Like, he hasn't complained. He said, you know what?
That's right.
I'll go out there, I'll stay healthy, and I'll go play well. So you would think that there would be more drama surrounding this team, but it's not. And the reason why is because how the 49ers have played it from the beginning.
No, that's right. And a massive turnaround in a week's time for Jimmy G. A week ago today, he was potentially dead by Sunday, and now he's maybe the starting quarterback in 2 years. Talk about, oh my goodness, the difference a week makes. But my answer is Jacob Ellis v. Ohio. And you might say, Nick, what the hell are you talking about? But you actually know what I'm talking about. That's the Supreme Court case where they defined obscenity as, I know it when I see it. In other words, I'm not going to put a firm definition on it, but you know it and I know it when we see obscenity. We know, you know, I know, Kyle Shanahan will know when they need to make the move. It can't be record dependent because the Niners have a good enough roster. They could play really well and have Jimmy G not playing well. And it also can't be record dependent the other way. If they have the spate of defensive injuries they had last year, Jimmy G could be playing best football of his life and it might not show up in the win-loss column. They will know it when they see it. If Jimmy G starts to falter, that it's time to go to Trey Lance Wilds.
You know what? Get yourself a sports analyst that can do both. Hot LeBron takes and insightful Supreme Court metaphors. Well done, Nicholas. That's why you're great for this show.
Thanks,
I'm the goon, but you did a fantastic. Yeah, you did a fantastic job there. That made sense. Okay, I'm gonna say Audible City, and I'm auditioning, Jenna, for another job, and that job is Tiny Devil on Jimmy G's shoulder. Because on the Angel, it's just a normal picture of Jimmy G all handsome with that 5 o'clock shadow. But on this shoulder, it's Wilds. And he's saying, hey, Jimmy G, I know they want you to run the ball, hand the ball off. Throw it. You got to throw it, buddy. 24-9 when you hand the ball off, nobody cares. Air that thing out. Call it at the line. Old Roethlisberger style. Audible City. So, air it out, Jimmy G.
I like it.
Little message from your devil on your shoulder,
like
Kevin
it.
Wilds.
Goon and devil. You're going to be a busy guy. Let's talk Giannis and the Bucks. So a report came out yesterday that if Milwaukee doesn't make a deep postseason run, it likely will cost head coach Mike Budenholzer his job. So Brandon, the Bucks firing Budenholzer if the team doesn't go on a long playoff run would be blank.
I don't like this at all. The answer is all on Giannis. If you're complaining about Coach Bud, then you really have two gripes. Your first gripe is, you know what? You have the best player in the NBA, some think that, and you haven't made the finals. The second gripe is, last year in the bubble, you didn't make the proper adjustments to the Heat, playing against the Heat. Like, did you watch that series? That defense was phenomenal. They played great. And your guy was hurt. Giannis was hurt. This dude has done nothing but transform this organization and take this team to a whole nother level. I don't like this. I think Coach Bud is an excellent coach, and it's really all on Giannis.
Oh, wow.
You have to have more than two moves. You have to. He has to have more than two moves. Everybody knows how to defend him. So this is all on Giannis.
No.
If they don't make it to the finals and Coach Bud gets fired.
Somebody, if everybody knows how to defend him, some of those everybody should go stop in on Steve Nash's next team meeting and be like, guys, here's how you stop him from scoring 40 a night. But I totally disagree. Listen, I like Bud, but I think this is reasonable and expected. Listen, a deep playoff run, I do not think means win the championship.
Wow.
I don't even think necessarily it means make the finals. I think it just means get to the conference finals, which would mean, by the way, they would have to.
What happened last night?
Jenna, as a wise man once said, it ain't great, but one game does not make a season, America. Well, the Nick Wright curse might have slightly affected him, but he's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back.
Which wise man was that? A number, plethora to choose from. All right, we will get to CP3's rough night. But another day, another layer to the Aaron Rodgers drama in Green Bay. According to this latest report now, because there's a lot to unpack here, Rodgers was telling potential free agents he might not be in Green Bay next season. Then there was another report that said Rodgers turned down an offer making him the NFL's highest paid quarterback. On top of that, we're hearing that Aaron Rodgers, while group texting some teammates, referred to his current GM, Brian Gutekunst, as late Bulls GM, Jerry Krause. And we all know how that ended with Michael Jordan. But wait, there's more. Brett Favre with this hot take yesterday. Take a listen to this.
And knowing Aaron, and I think I know him fairly well, if he has a grudge, whether it be against the organization or a player or an arch rival or family, friends, he ain't budging. I don't see him coming back and saying, if this is not resolved, whatever the issue is, if it's not resolved, or even if it's resolved, but he feels like they got one up on him, he ain't gonna play.
Wow. So every day I'm like, how could it possibly get worse or deeper? Brandon, are you convinced Aaron Rodgers is as good as gone in Green Bay? Or is there still a chance to salvage some part of this situation?
Well, first off, I don't want to hear from Brett Favre. Brett Favre, in December, talking about Deshaun Watson or whenever it was. You go out there and say, I'm kind of old school, and players need to play, they need to shut up. No, Brett Favre, you need to shut up. Like, your energy changed from Deshaun Watson to Brett Favre. So let's talk about that first and foremost. Now, this whole Aaron Rodgers thing, you're telling potential free agents that you may not be there. You're compromising the team. I just don't see Aaron Rodgers coming back after these things that are coming out now the last couple days. Think about Russell Wilson. Remember, I think it was you, Wiles, you were like, what does Russell Wilson want? He gave us this list of teams that he wanted to go to, the Vegas Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, the Saints. He had a few other teams out there. But then he's also liking tweets of guys talking about coming back, or he's liking tweets when guys sign. Russell Wilson was still quietly recruiting. Russell Wilson was still quietly having a conversation with teammates like, look, Chris Carson's, get the deal done, right? Because he was holding out hope that Pete Carroll was going to come around, and Pete Carroll did. So for this guy, Aaron Rodgers, to go out there and tell free agents like, look, man, I'm probably not going to be here, this is ugly, and this is all on Brian Gutekunst. That's who it's on. You got John Cohn, I believe his name is, the fullback that played 9 years with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. John Cohn. And he goes out there and says, well, there's two guys dug in, Nick. What do you mean there's two guys dug in? The only person that should be dug in is Aaron Rodgers. Like, you just got there a couple years ago. We're talking about one of the greatest players that ever played in the National Football League. He has a list of demands, and you need to meet him. There shouldn't be two guys dug in, Nick.
Well, I don't know that he has a list of demands anymore. I think he has one demand, and it will be his last demand, and that is, I don't want to work here anymore. And this, to me, Wilds, is very interesting for the Packers and for Rodgers, but it's also very interesting for the next few years of NFL football, because if we're being honest, Russell Wilson was engaged in a power struggle, and I understand the Seahawks seemed to bend a little, but in my opinion, Russell Wilson did not win that power struggle. They didn't make any massive free agent moves. They didn't trade away a draft pick for a star player. Not that they had many draft picks trade away, because they just traded one for Jamal Adams. He didn't get some new contract. Not that that's what he was looking for, and he didn't get traded. Now, Brandon reported he had a meeting with Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll acquiesced to many of his demands, but we'll see if that actually plays out in real time. The reason I bring that up is, if Aaron Rodgers loses a power struggle to Brian Gutekunst, then this this idea that, oh, the NBA model, player empowerment, it's coming to the NFL. If Rodgers can't be more powerful than Gutekunst, then the hell chance does Jalen Ramsey have against Les Snead? The answer is 0%. Not that Jalen has any issues with the Rams, but I'm just using star player and powerful GM. So I